If you fancy some chicken rice for dinner, you still can have it, at least for now. BTS pay a visit to the White House to discuss anti-Asian hate and discrimination. And why some people are suffering from COVID-19 symptoms long after testing negative. Good evening, you're watching The Big Story with me, Haryanto Diman. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you will not miss a single episode. Today is the first day of Malaysia's ban on its chicken exports to countries including Singapore. But fret not if you're looking to eat a plate of chicken rice. The chicken rice sellers here telling the Straits Times that they have enough chicken supplies for now. Here's multimedia journalist Kimberly Jow with more.
Hanging chickens, chopping cleavers. It is the first day of Malaysia's chicken export ban, but for this chicken rice store at Balestier Market, it's mostly business as usual.
可是我们拿的那个是大的厂嘛，所以他们都有收一点起来啦，还不知道啦。现在暂时1号到7号都有货，他是跟我们保证他都有货啦。我们可以拿到7号过后再打算咯。
Ever since news of the impending export ban broke, the store has been seeing constant, long, snaking queues. Today, those queues are not quite as long, but the customers have not gone away entirely.
我不觉得贵，我不觉得呀。以现在的行情，我觉得这边不错。我没有特别感觉，只是觉得说今天想吃鸡饭，我都忘记有这个鸡肉生鸡从马来西亚来新加坡缺乏的事。
我们本来1kg我们跟他拿是4块8，可是现在都5块半了嘞。可是我们还没有调啦，价钱还没有调。是觉得哎呀，顾客也是这么长时间，我们做这个地方已经做了40多年了嘛，也不可以说看要起就起嘛，是应该不打算起啦。 如果是可以，他现在还是如果5块半的话，我们还是不会起啦。也要照顾我们自己的顾客嘛。
So I never really monitor whether the price is increasing or yeah. Because for me, if I want to eat, then I pay for it. Probably if it's $10 per plate, then I will consider lah.
For now, rising prices don't seem to be a deterrent for those with a hankering for chicken rice. Kimberly Jow for the Straits Times.
Meanwhile, over in Malaysia, chicken is being sold well above the retail ceiling price, up to about 17 Malaysian ringgit or about 5 Singapore dollars a kilogram at some local grocers. The government has fixed the retail ceiling price of 890 ringgit per kg, effective from February 5th to June 5th. Clementi Polyclinic, one of the oldest and smallest polyclinics in Singapore, will move to a standalone site in Commonwealth Avenue West by 2027, which is about a 5-minute walk from Clementi MRT station. The new building will be larger than its current premises in Clementi Avenue 3 and offer a wider range of medical services. Meanwhile, the brand new Taman Jurong Polyclinic will be located in Corporation Drive. It will be built on the site of the former West Point Hospital and slated to open in 2028. With BTO application rates rising in recent years, ST has learned that around 20% of applicants in each sales exercise had applied for previous launches. While some have been unsuccessful in up to previous 5 applications, HDB says that about 9 in 10 first-timer families have been successful within 2 tries for a BTO flat in non-mature estates. South Korean boy band BTS met President Joe Biden at the White House to discuss hate crimes targeting Asians. And speaking to reporters before the meeting, the K-pop stars called for halt to crimes targeting Asian Americans. The meeting came as Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander months in May drew to a close following a sharp upswing in hate crimes against the community in the past year.
This is an important month here in America. A lot of our Asian American friends have been subject to real discrimination. Hate only hides. When good people talk about it and say how bad it is, it goes down. So thank you.
We want to say thank you sincerely for your decision, such as signing the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law. So we just want to be a little help, and we truly appreciate the White House and the government's trying to find solutions.
People care a lot about what you say, and what you're doing is good for all people. It's not just your great talent, it's the message you're communicating. It matters.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's cabinet, featuring a record 10 women, was sworn into office today. The diverse team includes the country's first Muslim federal ministers. The new Labour government secured a majority in Parliament, claiming 77 seats in the 151-seat lower house. On to the world of tennis, where the French Open quarterfinals saw the clash of the titans, with Rafael Nadal emerging victorious over Novak Djokovic. The Spaniard beat Djokovic in 4 sets in a match that lasted slightly over 4 hours. Nadal, who turns 36 on Friday, will now face Alexander Zverev in the semi-finals as he continues on his journey for his record 14th French Open and 22nd Grand Slam title. More than 1 million people in Singapore have had COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, and most have fully recovered. But for some individuals, the virus can cause symptoms that continue for weeks or months after the infection has gone. The term is long COVID, and in today's paper, correspondent Akshita Nanda tells the story of Ann So, a 51-year-old events organizer. Since contracting COVID-19 at the end of February, Ms. So suffers from fatigue, brain fog, and difficulty in concentrating. Akshita also suffers from long COVID. In March, she wrote about her own experience of how fatigue and brain fog affected her daily life, when even simple tasks required huge amounts of energy and focus. Akshita joins us now. Akshita, from what I understand, there is a wide range of symptoms for long COVID, and they may not affect everyone in the same way. Is there a test to diagnose long COVID?
There's a range of symptoms, the most common being fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and respiratory issues such as chest pains and coughs. Some specialists in Singapore have even seen people with heart palpitations, insomnia, loss of taste or smell, anxiety, depression, and gastric issues. Hair loss has also been reported in some studies overseas, but there's currently no blood test or clinical diagnostic test for long COVID. Doctors ask patients about their symptoms. They exclude other possible causes such as thyroid issues or anemia for fatigue, and then they judge whether or not this could be the long COVID syndrome. The World Health Organization actually defines long COVID as a post-COVID condition that cannot be explained by an alternative diagnosis.
What is the greatest challenge for sufferers of long COVID? Is it the uncertainty about how soon you will recover?
Like any traumatic or life-changing event, it's very difficult to explain long COVID to someone who hasn't gone through it. The people I interviewed used to climb rock walls or go on long 14-kilometer walks for fun. 3 months after getting COVID, they suffer from unimaginable fatigue. They had to lie down and rest for most of the day before I met them, just so they would have the energy to take my questions. After I left them, they had to rest again before, picking up their kids or cooking. People with long COVID have had to adjust their lives dramatically to cope. I mean, there's hope for them, but recovery can take 6 months, maybe more. And during that time, how do they explain to their kids that they're too tired to supervise their homework or play with them? How do they explain to their colleagues that they just can't take a quick phone call because they can't breathe properly? And how do they continue to maintain mental health when the body constantly defeats them? And yeah, some people think they're just making it all up. There are helpful lessons from the community of persons with disabilities. People with long COVID have learned about pacing, work within your limits, don't exceed those.
Sounds like there needs to be a greater awareness of long COVID. Akshita, are doctors seeing more cases here?
Doctors I spoke to said they are seeing more cases this year compared with earlier waves of the pandemic. However, the Ministry of Health does not track the total number of such cases, according to parliamentary questions filed earlier this year. Vaccinations do appear to decrease the risk of getting long COVID, but I guess some of us are just very special.
Nearly 4 months on after getting COVID, how is your battle with long COVID? How are you feeling now?
Well, my cognitive function has improved. I'm not making tea in my laptop. I can do Wordle and word puzzles now and also crosswords. Cognitive training like this has been recommended by some rehab doctors. Personally, sometimes my symptoms flare up for no discernible reason, and the World Health Organization noted this as a possibility. In the first week of May, I was out for about a week with breathlessness and chest pains. I'm seeing a specialist for rehab, and I'm also very lucky to have a job with an employer who supports lifestyle and workplace adjustments. These adjustments let me do what I love and support my family without killing myself. There's a very real risk here that if people with long COVID just push through, they can injure themselves severely. You can't just push through, you need rest and rehab. Pushing through could kill your muscle tissue and lead to even worse health problems.
Akshita, thank you for the sharing. Correspondent Akshita Nanda. You can read more about long COVID with insights from sufferers and doctors on the condition. You'll find Akshita's story online at str.sg/livingwell. And those are our top stories for today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. See you tomorrow on The Big Story.